Alright everyone, in this tutorial we're going to go ahead and open a Corona application to see what it looks like to run something in Corona. So go ahead and open your Corona simulator. And once it's open, you should get the menu screen similar to this. What we're going to do is we're going to open an application that's in the tutorial folder in section 3. So go ahead and click open and go to that folder. You should have a folder named sample project. You're going to need to select sample project, and if you're on Windows you're going to need to select the main.lua file. Once you've selected it, go ahead and click open and you should receive a screen similar to this. So this is our basic simulator. What this is doing is it's simulating the iPad Retina as it is now. So it's running it in sandbox mode that's showing what it would look like on the actual iPad. And now we also have the ability to refresh or relaunch the application. If you go to File, Relaunch, it will start it over from the beginning. Now there's nothing going on right now that we could see any different, but I'd like you to go into your Corona Applications tutorial, and we're going to go ahead and replace the sample image in the folder for sample project. So there should be a second image provided. If you drag that into the folder and replace the image, then when we refresh, which it'll do automatically, you should get the new image. So that's how easy it is to make changes in Corona. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and test different devices. So if you can go ahead and go to in Corona, go to Window, View As, you can see the different test devices that you can use. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the Galaxy Tab, which is an Android tablet. So this is what it would look like on the Galaxy tablet. Let's go ahead and try some other things here. We got the iPhone. So as you can see, there's a lot of different test devices, so you can see how it runs on various devices. You have everything from phones to tablets to even game devices such as the Ouya. So let's go ahead and switch it back to the iPad. I also want to show you the hardware options. So the hardware options allow you to make changes as if it was a physical device. So for instance, we can rotate it by 90 degrees to see what it would look like at different rotations. We also have the ability to suspend the app. What this does is it treats it as if you have left the application. So in iOS or Android, if you actually backed out of the app. So this is a great way to test that if you resume your product, your app, if it still does what's expected. We also have a set of preferences and options for your application. So you'll see here you can decide whether the welcome window shows up, whether it closes when you run an app, various effects. The one I would recommend making sure you have on is the relaunch simulator. This makes everything run a lot smoother when you're testing. You also might want to change it so it scales the simulator to fit the screen, so you never get the simulation to be larger than your screen itself. Alright. So now we're going to go ahead and show the process of building an application. So to build an application, you go to File, Build. Now there's differences between iOS and Android. iOS is only possible with a Mac device, whereas Android is for Windows and Mac. So if you are on a PC right now, you shouldn't have the iOS option, only Android. So we're going to go through the differences in those, but first I want to show you some other differences between the PC and the Mac. The preferences screen that I showed you earlier is also slightly different on Windows. So if you have Windows, your screen should look something like this. And the same is going to be for the build screen, which we'll see in a second. So if you go to File, Build, Android, this is what your Android should look like. So you choose your application name, the version code and name, your package identifier, which is what you identify this particular product as. Then you choose your SDK version, what target store it's for, and then your key, which is the provisioning information for Android. So I'm going to go ahead and click Build, and this will build us an APK file for Android. And there you have it. So now if you did the same, you should have a sample project.apk to wherever you told it to save. And if you put this on an Android device, you should be able to see the same thing as what we have on screen. So building is very easy. For iOS, it's pretty much the same process. The core difference is that you have to select a provisioning profile, which is a code signing identity. You can also choose to build for Xcode Simulator, which we will show later. So the core difference between building for a test device and for building for the actual distribution is going to be your provisioning information. So the code signing identity, or with Android, that key that we saw earlier. So this determines whether it can just go on a device or whether it's meant for the actual store. So if you have the provisioning set up, then you can build something to actually put to the Google Play Store or the App Store. We're not going to go over that in this tutorial, but in the Corona Applications folder, there is links to an Android and iOS tutorial for setting up that provisioning information. I would recommend going through both of those on Mac, or at least the Android one for PC, if you want to build to the actual stores. So there you have it. That's building and running an application. In our next tutorial, we're going to go over some of the sample applications that come with Corona.